Today's episode is all about encouraging leaders to adopt a culture in their business where their team members take initiative, that is, they execute, or they seek support when necessary, that is, they escalate, rather than sitting in indecision, deferring responsibility, or clogging up your time with avoidable approvals. So let's get into how you can embed a culture where your team instinctively execute or escalate. This is episode 240 of Commercial Real Estate Leadership. My name's Darren Krakowiak. I help commercial real estate principals to lead their people to better performance, to grow revenue in their business faster, and to have less stress in their lives. And I really enjoyed in our last episode telling you all about sales management as a service, which is delivered through our Agent Accelerator program, where we upgrade the skills of agents, we elevate their mindset, and we give them the accountability that they need to grow their GCI within 1 year by $100,000. If you're a commercial real estate agent and you would like to know more about that, you can go to cresuccess.co/agents. And the part about elevating mindset is really important. And we've just brought on a great mindset coach. We've had some fantastic feedback from our members about that mindset session. And just the other day, as I was walking past Coles is a supermarket in Australia, if you're not in Australia, I was reminded about the impact that mindset work can have on an individual, because I saw a young guy, couldn't have been older than, must have been a student in university, maybe 2021, handing over a $5 note to somebody who was clearly in need. In fact, a homeless person who I've seen regularly outside our local Coles. And I thought, I wonder if this guy can afford to hand over the $5. We look like a student. And then I remembered about the abundance trading that I had done a few years ago. It was an audio program. It was part of money manifestation and abundance training that I did. And it really helped me have a more positive and appropriate and healthy relationship with money, as opposed to coming at money from a scarcity mindset. It helped me being more generous in my approach with money. And one of the exercises was to keep $5 notes in your wallet and to hand them out whenever anyone in need asked for money. And that exercise was one of the best exercises in that overall program for me, because it wouldn't have been something that I would have done in the past. When someone asked me for $1 or $2, I would have gone, no, here's $5. That was something I wouldn't have done in the past, but I did that and it helped. Now, I'm not saying that you can just do that exercise and you're going to have an improved relationship with and a more abundance attitude towards money, because it was a 30-day or 40-day audio program that I listened to. But that exercise stuck with me. And when I saw somebody hand over the $5 to somebody who needed it, I was reminded of how I now have a better relationship with money as a result of the mindset work that I did. And that's why mindset is part of the overall delivery inside Cresuccess Agent Accelerator. So if you'd like to know more about the program, go to cresuccess.co/agents. That is agents plural. We'll put the details in the show notes. All right, so today I want to give you a phrase that can change how your team operates. It can free up your time and also shift your culture towards empowerment and also accountability. And that phrase is execute or escalate. And I think the problem here is, and it's a problem that's pretty common, commercial real estate principals getting bogged down by decisions that others could and should be making. And it's not that their people are lazy. It's more that they haven't been given the tools, a framework. They haven't been given guidance on when they should be taking action and when they should be seeking direction. And this is where the execute or escalate mindset comes in, right? Because we want to get people to understand that if it is within their scope and if they've got the information that they need to move forward, then they should have a bias towards acting. They should execute. And if it's outside their pay grade, or if there's a risk involved that's significant, then they should escalate. But what we don't want is for people to do nothing. We don't want people to sit on it. We want them to pick one. We want them to execute or to escalate. And in terms of implementing this in your business, I think we need to have the right structure in place that allows this to thrive. And part of that means having regular check-ins for legitimate escalations, preferably in the form of scheduled one-on-one meetings or at least regular team meetings. We want to encourage team members to come up with a recommendation or a couple of choices when they do come to you, when they escalate things, so get them to start thinking about how they would handle particular issues. So a nice little frame is, give me two choices when you come to me with a problem. Don't just come to me with a problem. Give me an A or a B, and we can pick one, or perhaps we can decide on another solution. And I think we also want to make sure that people understand what their role is, that we have communicated expectations clearly, that they know what they're responsible for. And while they know what they're responsible for and they're acting within their realm of responsibility, we want to make it clear that it's okay if sometimes mistakes are made from time to time, because that is better than indecision or going silent. So this episode, in fact, the title of the episode, which is Execute or Escalate, was inspired by one of my clients. I think it's not unfair to say that he's been burning the candle at both ends, working far longer hours than I would recommend, probably 12 hours at least, making decisions for everyone and just not getting the support that he needs. And once we sort of were talking about what he needed to get done, we came up with this simple phrase, execute or escalate. Things started to shift. His managers started to make more of their own decisions and owning their area of responsibility. The questions that they were asking him started to become more pointed, and people were taking some of the responsibility off his shoulders. Even when they were escalating, they were coming to him with solutions as opposed to just coming to him with problems. And that creates a shift in the culture. He even joked that he likes this new catchphrase, right? Execute or escalate. And I told him use it, right? That's how leadership systems are built. Just off little phrases like that, just off those little moments. So we want to set guardrails so people know when escalation should occur. So let me just quickly touch on that. If a decision requires a certain level of spend, for example, we might say that it should be escalated. We might even empower certain people to say, if you can solve this problem for $100, for $200, just go ahead and solve it. That's within your realm of responsibility. We might decide that there are certain VIP clients where you want to be across more detail than is typical, in which case you should state that, and therefore your people will know that you want to be kept informed with that particular VIP client or set of VIP clients. And if there's a scenario that presents, risk to the client, risk to the business, risk to the employee, then that should also be escalated. And if people are unsure, if they don't know, what we want to let them know is that they're not going to get in trouble for escalating. We want to create a safe environment where people can come to you and ask for guidance when needed, because they're not doing the wrong thing. If they're executing or they're escalating, they're not just sitting in indecision or doing nothing, which is what we don't want. So your homework, your action item from this episode is to, if you like the frame, execute or escalate, bring it up at your next team meeting. Start talking about it more often. Let your team know exactly what it means to you and what it means to them. By doing so, you're letting them know that they have your trust in a whole range of areas, particularly if you want to set the guardrails and state the expectations around what it is that you want them to execute on. And then if you back it up with structured time to deal with escalations, to let them know that we've got a certain amount of time every single week in the diary, but also if there's something which rises to a certain level that's particularly important, that if you need to escalate, then that is also perfectly fine as well. And of course, we can back this up with a lot of encouragement, a lot of positive reinforcement when people are doing a great job and when they're executing on their own. We want to always reward desirable behaviors so they're reinforced and they continue to happen in the business. So remember the phrase, execute or escalate. That is our episode for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you soon.